I'm here with Doug Tolley, Vice President of Sales and Director of Business Development with a great product called VXSuite. And we're going to give you a real brief introduction to SaaSmax for those of you who may be new to the SaaSmax ecosystem and community. And then I'm going to let Doug take it away. Everybody here is on mute right now. So if you have any questions, please type them into the question area. And if it's relevant at the time of Doug's presentation, I'll interrupt and ask him a question. And otherwise, we'll wait until later and ask it at the end. So let's get started here. So for those of you new to SaaSmax, we're basically an ultimate value-add SaaS marketplace, and we connect resellers with business cloud apps. We have buyers that come here as well, looking for resellers, looking for SaaS vendors, and we like to, Doug, you may want to mute, or Tony, if you're on, perhaps mute. I'm going to mute Tony. Okay, great. So this way, with SaaSmax, we do our best to create great matches that are efficient for you as a value-added reseller or managed service provider or trusted advisor. We give you special offers and incentives from these SaaS vendors who are wanting to work with you and help you grow your business by growing their business as well. SaaSmax will have a dedicated account executive who helps you to decide on which applications might be good for your customer base and add recurring revenue to your bottom line each month by selecting quality apps. And you can use our site directly yourself to identify and research the right types of not only apps, business applications, but also what kind of channel programs they have. And we do facilitate and encourage that we make personal introductions between you and the SaaS vendors so that it's a warm relationship that gets kicked off and that there's no barriers to doing business together. And we also enjoy providing this education and additional tools so that as you grow with SaaSmax, we'll have more tools for you to work with us. So today I'm happy to present Amy Bailey as well as Doug Tolley. And Amy has been the channel marketing person that we're working with on the SaaSmax side, and I can tell you that she's extremely channel friendly and a pleasure to work with and access. And Doug, he's the VP of Sales and Director of Business Development for VXSuite. And Doug is quite the character, if I must say myself. He's the owner of the VXSuite product. The company is LVM Inc., which is the owner of VXSuite. And Doug has over 20 years of experience in biz dev, sales and consulting, and project management, and primarily in IT. So his experience is broad. He understands what the world of the channel and IT resellers are. And he's here today offering a special offer for you. So anytime you close a new customer by the end of this month, you'll receive an extra $50 Amazon gift card. So that's nice for the holidays. So Doug, welcome aboard and take it from here.
Thanks a bunch, Dina, for having us, and to the SaaSmax ecosystem out there. Thanks for the opportunity to introduce ourselves to you. We're excited to be here today, and there's a lot of data on some of these slides that I may not cover. You'll be able to read that a little bit later. But the real core of the reason why we're in business, the reason why VXSuite exists, is because we believe that we've all been sold a little bit of a bill of goods around unified communications. We're supposed to be able to talk to who I want, when I want, on the device I want, and make it seamless. And the reality is that implementation of UC products and services is difficult, and that promise has fallen way, way, way short. And so the reality of it is that we all need better analytics tools to understand our network environment and how that plays with our voice ecosystem, to understand our voice analytics and whether we're calling the right people and whether our businesses are really communicating with our customers and our internal customers and our external suppliers. Are we really doing the right things? Are we spending our dollars correctly? Do we have the right devices in place? And is our employee behavior what it needs to be? I find these are concerns for almost all businesses. And so VXSuite was created as a cloud-based analytics company that provides tools that improves the UC experience for any organization. We're completely phone system agnostic and network agnostic. We don't care what network hardware is in place. We don't care what phone system is in place. It could be a phone on-premise phone system. It could be a hybrid phone. a hosted phone system, or it could be a hybrid of on-premise and hosted, and the manufacturers don't matter. At the core of it, what's really critical is that people have the data they need, and when I say people, managers, CIOs, telecom directors, network operations people, they have the data they need to understand how voice is playing on their data network, and if there are call quality issues, how to quickly find those. Our software is extremely easy to use. We look at specific things like quality of service and bandwidth. We have a whole suite around call analytics and mobility, but at the core of it, it's really about understanding that entire voice ecosystem and having a tool that really helps us protect that user experience and that call quality. We've been around for a long time. The product started, as it says on the screen, in 2002. We have 5 additional modules, which we'll talk about in a minute. We have customers as small as 2 to 3 phones in an organization, and we have customers as large as a few 100,000 endpoints. This is extremely scalable and applicable to businesses of all sizes. And as it says, we're headquartered in Sandy, Utah, and all of our support is onshore, mostly from Sandy, Utah, and Southern California. But we do have some other options for 24/7 emergency ticketing. So at the core of it, the question is, so who cares about this stuff, right? So who would be the ideal customer? Well, I already mentioned it a little bit before, but the reality of it is, because we're completely PBX agnostic and because we're completely network agnostic, it really applies to anybody who just wants to better understand the impact of voice on their data network and understand why customers internally or externally might be having a bad call quality experience, or how they might be able to protect that call quality, and I'll talk a little bit more about that in a second. Customers of all sizes use the VXSuite tools. We have a specific focus around healthcare and manufacturing, transportation, and government. That's just because the vast majority of our customers kind of fall in those categories. We have a lot of great customers in healthcare, like Ohio Health and Baptist Health and Allergan Pharmaceuticals and Tenet Healthcare. Transportation, interestingly, companies that care about logistics and getting the right loads to the right places, like R&L carriers and PAM Transportation, and a lot of government organizations, counties, small municipalities, and other large organizations that really, just as I said before, need to understand their voice ecosystem environment better. We have a number of different modules, as I mentioned before. The first module on the screen is VXPulse. VXPulse is really our network assessment and monitoring tool. Essentially what the core of it is to understand how the routers, switches, firewalls, Windows servers, PBXs, how are those things interacting with one another, and how is that network affecting call quality? And of course, if you're in the voice world, you understand that you care about things on call quality like delay and jitter and loss, things like MOS scores. We can get into all the details of that, but the real key is there's a lot of network monitoring tools that we compete with. However, the VXSuite tool looks at the network with the lens of how does this affect my voice quality specifically. VXTracker is our call analytics engine. It's our oldest product. Call detail reporting used to be about saving a few bucks on long distance. The reality of it is that nobody cares about that anymore. Long distance is almost free. It's certainly been commoditized. What it's really about now is, are we making the right calls at the right times? Are we on the phone long enough or too long? Who's making calls overseas that shouldn't be? If I'm a call center inbound call agent, why am I making so many outbound calls? Do I really even need a desk phone if I make most of my calls from my mobile phone? And that takes us into the VX Mobile product, where we can take call detail records from any of the major phone carriers, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Sprint, and run that through the analytics engine and really understand the impact of mobile phones and mobile devices like tablets and other things on the voice ecosystem as well. VX Record is exactly what it sounds like, call recording. And VX Dash kind of aggregates all of these different modules information into one holistic view of everything that's going on. I'll talk about that just a little bit more in a second. We also have a tool to assess network performance before you deploy a technology. We have VXSuite, which is our team of white-labeled professionals that can go out and help with an implementation. So you might run into a situation where the company has an Avaya phone system and you might not have Avaya expertise. We've got a team of experts that know everything about every major manufacturer. They know about network security. They understand hybrid environments and hosted environments, and you can white label and deploy those guys and gals as needed to augment your team if necessary. And then we also offer a hosted link offering because our partner channel has demanded that we have a hosted link offering to help them augment and not walk away from any business that might come up. And so we're seeing a lot of trends around the hosted world. Phone systems are no longer on-premise scenarios for the most part. A lot of companies are either hybrid, hosted, some on-premise and some hosted, or going fully hosted. So that's an interesting trend in the marketplace as well. As we really look then, yes, go ahead.
It's Dina. I just wanted to add, because we did have several people just join in the last minute or two, and I want to just confirm and have you talk again about how all of this platform, this suite of tools that you have, really is agnostic. So no matter what PBX or unified communication platform that your customers are using, you can use VXSuite and sell VXSuite to any of those. So I just want to make sure that's clear.
Great. And let me just add to that one quick thing. Because the world is becoming less and less one vendor, and it's more and more a hybrid environment, and certainly it's hybrid in the network world, different brands of routers, switches, firewalls, servers, whatever. But even in the phone world, where a company might, for example, have a Cisco phone implementation, but now they're laying Microsoft Link on top of that. One of the great things about VXSuite is that not only are we platform agnostic, but we actually really thrive in that hybrid, messy, sloppy environment. In other words, we can pull data from a Cisco switch and a Link server simultaneously and pull that data into our dashboard product and be able to show the customer or the IT manager or whoever is responsible for that ecosystem what's going on both of those disparate systems in one single pane of glass. And so we actually appreciate you mentioning that. We not only are agnostic, but really thrive in a hybrid environment, which is what the world looks like these days. And so as kind of a visual cue to sort of see how all this works together, VX Tracker is our analytics engine. VX Mobile is exactly what it sounds like. It's our mobility play. VX Record is the ability to listen to and play back and hear that call. And, of course, VXPulse is that network diagnostic tool. Let me kind of give you a quick day in the life of how these things might work together. Let's just give an example that you're a managed service provider or value-added reseller, and one of your customers calls up and says, hey, I just got off the phone and I had a really bad call quality, and I don't know why. Well, the first thing we do is look in the analytics engine and see how many calls were going on simultaneously, who were they calling, how long were they on the phone, and were they calling internally or externally, and all the things that the analytics engine would tell us. Then we could go to the VXPulse module and look at the network and say, okay, was somebody streaming Pandora right now? Was somebody trying to download a movie right now? Was the bandwidth maxed out on a couple of the routers? What can we learn about the delay, jitter, loss, MOS scores? We could even, if we have record turned on, maybe go in and listen to that call as the help desk or somebody trying to service this customer, and listen and see, are they really just kind of a whiny user, or do they have a legitimate beef? And really understand it. As we look at all of those things in a holistic view, we really are a little bit like going to a car dealership with a Carfax already in hand. We have all the data. We eliminate the finger pointing between manufacturers and carriers because we have information that really helps us service our customers in a way that we previously haven't been able to do. That's kind of the holistic view of how all the products work together. And again, one of the reasons why we've created this as we look at kind of the next concept is about 80% of enterprise investments in UC, according to Gartner, are done without an overarching strategy and roadmap. That seems scary if you're an IT manager or CIO, thinking 4 out of 5 of our projects going without a roadmap. But as a vendor, as a value-added reseller, as a managed service provider, as someone who makes their living on the fact that the other guys don't know what they don't know, and as we look at the next slide, we realize that that's really an opportunity for us to make a whole bunch of money. Because what we're finding, and this is borne out for organizations large and small, is the reality of it is they don't know what they don't know. So let me give you a quick example. Let's say a company that you're working with has decided they want to do a new video conferencing project. It's a great idea because we're going to save a bunch of money on travel, and we're going to be a lot more efficient. We're going to be able to collaborate face-to-face, and it's going to be awesome. It's a great idea, except for nobody thinks about what impact that might have on the phone system, what impact that might have on our bandwidth needs. Is our network even ready to do a video conferencing system? Do we have the right headsets for our remote workers or our road warriors? Do they have the right USB headset? Are their computers adequate to do that? Can we find bandwidth wherever we need to? And if we don't have bandwidth in the whole local hotel or whatever, Do we have a hotspot, or do we provide them their own hotspot? Can they link to their iPhone to get the wireless connection they need? All of these ramifications really show that people aren't ready. And I'll give you a real-world example. I have a client who decided they want to do a 50-user video conferencing pilot, for all the right reasons, except for the people that were on the chosen 50 list told a couple of friends, who told a couple of friends, who told a couple of friends. And before they knew it, they had 5,000 users on their network trying to do video conferencing on an infrastructure that was only designed for a 50-user pilot. The reality of it is, with tools in place like ours, not only can you control those things not getting out of control, but also really understand what those impacts are. And we find as we look at the next slide that there are really kind of 4 phases for any of us who work in the UC world, but especially those of us that work in the UC world that are SaaS-based providers. And I'll tell you what I mean by that. Pre-assessment means, do we know that the product's going to work before we put it in? Well, the VXSuite tools let you do that. So we can send test voice and video calls across the internet and between WAN and LAN links and understand how is this technology going to perform before we even put it in. And then we need, as we introduce new variables into the environment, like a new video conferencing system, to kind of monitor the progress of those things and see how it's affecting all the other pieces in the ecosystem and fix the problems as we go, and then really protect that quality of user experience. Quality of experience for the user is so key. I mean, if you tell me, hey, we've got this great new tool and I can't use it, then it's not of any value to me. But last but not least, we find people in the SaaS world don't spend enough time taking credit for the great things they do. And so we have a whole engine that lets you schedule reports that you can send to your customers. And let me give you a quick example of that. University of Utah got complaints that their phone system was always down, but it wasn't always down. Maybe once in a while it was down. We scheduled through our tool what we call an availability report. It just tells you how often was the phone system up, and if it was down, what were the reasons. And that goes to all the managers' inbox every single Monday morning for the last 7 days. Guess what? Complaints about the phone system being down completely went to zero because they get the data in their hands and nobody has to speculate about whether it works or doesn't work. And so as we kind of very quickly look through the next couple of slides, this ability to pre-assess the status quo, get a health check on the system, and then test the system before deployment is really, really critical. As I said before, as we look at monitoring and fixing on the next slide, where we have the ability to really drill into the system and understand as we introduce these new variables what's going on and have alerts and alarms let me know when bandwidth is spinning out of control or delay or jitter or loss isn't meeting predefined specifications, where the system isn't really performing like it should. That's just critical. And then as we look at the next phase, which is really protect that quality of user experience, we can look at reports like which users are having the worst experience right now, and who are the top 10 worst experience right now on the network on the communications ecosystem, and how do we address those that are having the most difficulty, and how do we really protect that quality of experience. And then, like I mentioned before, last but not least, you've got to take credit. Because what happens is people at the end of the road say, well, we're not really having phone system problems anymore. Or we're not having network problems anymore. Well, that's because you're watching it for them. And so if you don't give them constant communication, like we say on the next slide about taking credit, then you're not getting the full, the customers aren't understanding the full value of what it is that you're providing. And so we encourage everybody, if you don't use our tools, use somebody's. But by all means, you've got to take credit for the great job that you're doing. So what are the benefits of the, or what's the pricing? Yeah, it sounds awesome, but how much? Well, good question. Our starter packs for each of our modules start at $150 a month. That covers different pieces. We certainly can't get into the weeds here on that in our short webinar today, but just know that we keep the price low enough that it just becomes an add-on to what you're already doing. And as I look at the next idea, and so it's $150 a month for the starter packs for each of our major modules. We can talk about the hosted link offline if you like to talk about that. But that starts at $69.99 a user and includes Microsoft Link and all the Microsoft Office suite and our tools as well, all wrapped into one nice, tidy little bundle. What's the benefit to the resellers then? Well, we give you a 25% revenue share right out the gate. We white label everything so we continue to build your brand and not our brand. We are a value-added service to you and your clients, and what I mean by that is we don't ever want you to stop doing what's making your everyday revenue. We don't want you to stop buttering your own bread. What we do want you to do is think about this as a tool that can differentiate you from all the other offers out there. instead of being a me too like everybody else, that it's something that truly makes you special and truly makes you unique because you have data that nobody else has, and that you're talking to your customers in a way that nobody else is talking to them. Instead of just being another hosted offering, you're, for example, a hosted offering that also helps protect quality by testing the network constantly, something like that. We do co-branded marketing, we do webinars, we do email marketing, and we include all of that marketing service package at absolutely no cost to any of our partners. We don't charge a dime for doing all of this marketing for you, again, to help you build your brand. And like I said before, it's critical to understand it's all completely white labeled. You're building your company, and VXSuite disappears kind of into the background. And of course, our support is world class. But we'll have to prove that to you, so let us give us a shot, and we'll prove it to you. Again, VXSuite helps you grow your business, helps you stay in front of your clients, helps you really change the conversation. I'll give you another really fast example as we wind up today. I went into a company that was doing another video conference pilot, and I said, how many simultaneous video conference calls do you do? And they said, well, we do a lot of them. I said, can you be more specific? And they said, well, we really don't know, but we think we do a lot. And I said, well, how much bandwidth do you think that would require to do a video conferencing solution like that? And they said, well, I don't know, but we do a lot of calls. We probably need a lot of bandwidth. And I said, well, I'm glad we're being real specific. Do you know how much that's going to cost? And they said, no, I don't. And I said, well, I assume it's going to cost a lot. Imagine if the conversation was more like this. We've analyzed your network, and you do about 15 simultaneous video threads a day, or sorry, an hour. That's going to be X amount of bandwidth. And in order to do that, you're going to have to change the quality of service settings on a couple of routers and increase your bandwidth by X. When I have that kind of specific real-world conversation, because I have the data in my hands, I really become not just another product, but a real leverage product for the customer. And so as we look at the next slide, you think about this, 50 clients at $150 a month is $90,000 a year in revenue. But think about that as that becomes sticky. It becomes just another add-on piece of what you're already doing. And the customers kind of continue to roll those products year after year. And I don't need to explain this to people who understand software as a service and recurring revenue. But just imagine, a few hundred clients at $150 or $300 a month. It becomes really, really a powerful mechanism to help you grow your business. And so that's our goal, grow your revenue. Order size is typically between $150 and $450 a month, 25% commission that we already talked about. So you look at that, you're making somewhere between $37.50 and $112.50 per month per order. Commissions can add up very, very quickly, and we find customers that do it for a while and get into year one and then finally year two, that it can be a significant amount of your company's revenue. We have a lot of happy customers. You might be asking, with us being in business so long, how many customers do we have? We have hundreds of thousands of user endpoints. We have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 unique customers. And like I said, with hundreds of thousands of endpoints, we only sell this through a partner channel. We do not sell it direct. And so very often, like I said, we fade into the background. We have a lot of really happy customers, like Americom Technology as a partner, and Teleris, and L3, and others. At really the end of the day, how do you talk to people about this? Well, we talked about being a differentiator. So you ask people things like, hey, what's your link strategy? How do you know you have enough bandwidth? How do you make sure that you protect your voice quality? And just really try to get people involved in a conversation that's different than just pitching your own product. When we have those kinds of conversations, the need for a tool set like VXSuite seems to come up all the time. We're more than willing to do try and buys, so put our money where our mouth is and prove it to people. We're very excited about making sure that people find out about us and that we get our name out there. So we're more than happy, like I said, to do try and buys and really help solve some of their most critical issues. And we find when we do that, the customers almost always not only take the product but become long-term customers of yours, and really improves our partner relationship with you. It's been fun to talk to you. I know this has been a bit of a whirlwind. We do webinars every Tuesday and Thursday with deep dives into our product. We're more than happy to connect with you and talk a little bit about how we could work with you and your sales team to ask the right kinds of questions to get into these conversations. And if you look at what's on the screen, VXSuite2.readytalk.com is where we do these webinars. We'll do, like I said, we'll do try and buys. We'll do a specific webinar for you and your prospects or customers if you'd like. We can plan these co-branding and co-marketing activities. We love to do lunch and learns. We're just excited to help you, again, build your business. And anybody who closes any new business between now and the end of the month will receive a $50 Amazon gift card, which is perfect in time for Christmas. So you can get that gift you really wanted instead of the one you got. And you don't have to return that tie. You just smile and wear it and then use our $50 to get what you wanted. We are excited to be part of the SaaSmax family. Thank you, Dina, for letting us be here. And the bottom line, don't leave money on the table. The reality of it is some of the stuff that you've stayed away from or shied away from because you don't have the right tools to help you understand really what's going on with their customers, we can help you with that. Don't walk away from any money. Let's make 2015 the year where all your financial dreams come true. We don't expect to change your world. We do expect to be the thing that helps you be different than the other guy down the street. A real differentiator is VXSuite, and that's what our successful partners find.
Excellent. Doug, that was great. You kept it within 30 minutes, which is terrific. I'm going to stop the recording and then ask the questions so that we have a good quality recording. But for those of you, please hang on and we will get your questions addressed. And again, it was Doug, but the person you'll contact if you want to become a direct reseller with VXSuite is Tony Blackwell, and her phone number is here. And if you go to SaaSmax's marketplace, SaaSmax.com, and click on their search for VXSuite, you can easily find and directly contact them through there. Or you could, through one of your reseller account managers, including Donna, who's on the phone right now, you could definitely contact her and she can make the direct introduction. So lots of ways to get in touch with them, and we encourage you to do it. And it's a great product that, like Doug said, it does differentiate you from everyone else because there is a huge market to capture here. And with everyone who is basically using and taking on more and more VoIP and UC products, this will give you a chance to give them something added that they're probably not even considering because most people don't even realize it's available to them yet. So let me stop the recording.